What's going on, eaters? This is my first live stream. I promised you guys I would do one. So I did this one on YouTube. In the future, as I mentioned in the video, I'm going to try to do them simultaneously on YouTube and Facebook. I think the next one, as far as software walkthrough, that will probably be done on the Facebook private group, so definitely check that out if you're not a member. In this video, I discuss the coronavirus, I discuss some sourcing, some preparation, what you can do, a mindset of handling everything, as well as a walkthrough of our current software. As I go into in the video, our new software is still being worked on as we speak. I already shot the video and finished it and just going to do some editing on it, and we're still, unfortunately, waiting for that software program to launch the new one. But I can at least walk you through the old one, the current one I should say, that we're using right now, and it should give you a lot of ideas as to what you should look for in your own software when you go to develop it, or some of the features that we'll be able to provide once we have our software up if you're interested in using it. I go over a bunch of other things. I got some good questions from some of the people hitting me in the comments. I hope you guys are able to tune in next time I go live. It was fun and easy. It required minimal editing, which is great. That means I can do more content for you guys. It goes a bit long. I was hoping to be done within an hour. I didn't think I'd even be able to go that long for an hour. I actually went for an hour and 43 minutes. So definitely skip around if you don't have the bandwidth to go through everything, but I do kind of touch on a little bit everything from coronavirus to software, sourcing, and even basal metabolic rate, kind of all over the place. So check it out and let me know what you guys think. As always, check out the notes check out the links in the notes below. You got links to reach out to me, join the group, check out the boot camp, get the free ebook, get the free order tracking software, and so much more. So check that out. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to our channel where we go behind the scenes for meal plan company Fit Food Fresh and other local businesses across South Florida. Make sure you hit the subscribe and alerts so you never miss a video. Hit us with any questions or suggestions.
All right, we're a little early, but I figured we'd just go live. I'm not sure how long I'll go live for. Figure an hour will be the most. I don't want to burn your bandwidth too much. I figure anything that we'd be able to discuss in a good amount. Ooh, that's weird. Seeing myself pop up, I wasn't realizing that was going to happen. All right, cool. So this is the first time I'm actually going live. Very excited about it. By all means, start hitting me with your questions if you have any. I do have some stuff that I was planning on discussing. The reason I really want to start doing lives, at least for now, is cutting down on editing. As I've mentioned before in some videos, one of the biggest issues, and just really quick, for those of you who are on my Facebook, if I'm pointing to you right now, you're watching me on my phone on the Facebook channel. I wasn't able to simultaneously broadcast to both YouTube and Facebook. This time, I figured out how to do it next time, but I literally just downloaded this. I was like, I'm going to go live today. I'm just going to, do it. So, poor planning on my part, but done is better than perfect, right? So, YouTube, if I'm pointing to you now, you are watching it on YouTube. This is the main screen. You're getting the main audio. Facebook, you're missing out on the better audio. It's going off of my phone. So if it seems crappy and you don't want to tolerate it on Facebook, by all means, switch over to YouTube. And I believe that this will be, this is automatically being recorded by this software. Very cool software right here, Ecamm Live. I'm trying it for free, just in case you guys ever wanted to, I don't know, get into making podcasts or anything like that. It's kind of cool. It's something new I'm checking out. Checked out a couple of them, and this one was recommended to me. So doing it on a free demo. Let me know what you guys think. There's a bunch of bells and whistles, like sound effects, and I could do a green screen. I'm guessing you guys are hearing the sound effects. And then there's a green screen and all sorts of cool stuff. Really, the only thing that's being affected by the green screen, I think, would be that, because this is blue behind me. But anyways, one of the things I do want to discuss is going to be the coronavirus. And before I get into anything like that, I want to preface this by saying that, number one, don't take anything that I say ever on any of my videos on live stream or anything as gospel, as 100% infallible fact, because I a lot of times am expressing opinions based on what I've learned up to that point. I do like to keep an open mind, so I might change my opinion next week if there's new data. I like to keep an open mind. So whether it comes down to my thoughts and opinions on how to do a meal prep company, how to, market, whatever it is, and especially with coronavirus or anything serious like that, I don't want to be taken as any kind of authority. This is really just me sharing my opinions, and I hope that nobody skips past this part so they hear that disclosure. I'm going to maybe try to sprinkle it in when I can remember to, but I don't want to set any kind of panic or, again, come across as any kind of authority. Just someone else, a friend of yours who knows what you do, knows a bit about how your business works, and is, just bouncing some ideas off of you. So that being said, the coronavirus right now is, definitely a major concern. We've got, I think, as of today, last numbers I heard, and the data is always changing, 27 here in the United States, 27 out of 50 states, so over half the states, have some reported issues of coronavirus. We've got some states that are under a state of emergency. I know New York and I believe California, at least those states. And I hear people on both sides, and I like to listen to both sides of any argument. But especially when something is political, or it's something that is politicized, where it's maybe not a political issue, but then it gets wrapped up into, the political atmosphere that we've got going on here. And I try to listen to both sides. So my understanding is there's arguments on one side saying that it's being overhyped by the media. There's arguments on the other side saying that it's being suppressed by the media. So these are two opposite issues, and depending on which side you identify with, you might have a certain, either you're only hearing that side because you're only watching this channel for your news, or you're only watching that channel for the news. So that might be the only information that you're getting in your head. And I strongly, and beyond, above and beyond this, I say just for life purposes, it's going to be best, it would always behoove you to try to listen to as many opinions as possible, as many credible opinions as possible, and make sure you do your due diligence to find, credible resources for your information, and never take anything for 100% fact, because a lot of people, it's very hard to write something without some kind of bias. But take in as much information as you can on a subject, especially when it is something that's very important to your business, your livelihood, or whatever else, your long-term health and success and happiness. Take it all with a grain of salt, but listen to as much of it as possible. So we've obviously got, there's some truth somewhere in between the opposite ends of the spectrum, where they're saying it's not a big deal and it's a huge deal. I think that it's going to be closer to hopefully somewhere in the middle, where I think it has the potential of being a major issue, and there's a lot of things that we haven't even begun to experience yet, that I think would happen if it continues to progress and it's not contained. But we'll discuss some of those. But I want you to, if you're taking away anything from this, it's to go out and inform yourself, form your own opinions. But then also, I would also recommend having the wherewithal and the ego control to make, look at yourself as being wrong. And that's a great thing to have, a great characteristic to have as a leader, because if you're looking at yourself critically and you're aware of the fact that you might be blinded by a bias or, a vacuum of circumstances where, you happen to feel this way because this happened, and someone else might be wrong, it might be right without making you wrong, or might be right and make you wrong. Keep an open mind to everything. So getting into, sorry for the long preface, I feel like that was long-winded, but there's a chain of events that I think a lot of people aren't taking into consideration. A lot of people I'm hearing are like, oh, well, we've got farms everywhere. And like here in Florida, we have a lot of farmland. A lot of people don't think about farms when they think of Florida. You guys probably think, if you're not from Florida, you think about palm trees and beaches, and you're thinking Miami and Disney World, right? Everyone who's not from Florida always asks, like, how far are you from Miami or Disney World? That's what they're always asking. But there's actually a huge farming industry here. I think we're like the world capital of peppers or something that you'd never expect. I think like crazy amounts of bell peppers or tomatoes, something like that I wouldn't even think of. I think if anything, you think oranges, right? Citrus. But anyway, a lot of people locally are like, oh, well, in Florida, we're okay because we've got all this farmland and we've got, all these cows that we can eat. We got all these, I know about all these pigs we can eat, and we got, wild boar running around the place, and we've got all this farmland. And yeah, you're not wrong. But aside from the whole issue of there's a major breakdown that makes that not even what the real issue is. So as far as farming, let's look at it as a nation. We have, a lot of farmland, we got a lot of cows and everything like that. We've seen it in, every, shot of the Midwest seems to be like corn and cows. So we have this understanding or this idea, this impression that there is crazy amounts of food. First off, food is, for a large part is grown on a cycle. So not everything's going to be immediately available. The supply that it exists is limited, and there's a whole chain back before that of goods and all sorts of stuff that has to be calculated in to the whole process before the corn starts growing, before that seed is in the ground, before, there's all the equipment and the packaging and getting the seed there, like all these little things that while the materials that we're consuming might be something that's done here, the packaging and a lot of the things needed for those businesses to run, and the businesses that we don't even think of when we think about food that are somehow involved, those businesses are affected. Same thing, let's pretend that's not even an issue. Let's just simplify it. Food is made, whatever. How do we get it to the store if there's not plastic packaging? If we're not able to get, whatever we keep the food packaged and safe and contained and refrigerated and all that whole process, that whole food chain, there's all sorts of materials that, again, while the food was grown here, and it is within our country or within our state or, even within our county, getting it from, the farm to your refrigerator is a lot involved. A lot of people are shrugging off like power and light and stuff like that. And, in Florida, we're used to getting, not power and light, I meant utilities. People are like, oh, well, as long as, the electricity still works, it'll still be easy to cook. In Florida, it might be, because I'm hearing this just from Floridians, but they're comparing it to a hurricane, and they're like, it's not that bad. We're just going to, like, stock up on food. And their main concern is like, well, I'm still going to be able to take a warm shower. I'm going to be able to use my microwave and watch TV. I'm just going to be using, eating TV dinners and stuff. We don't know how long this all can go on. So that's another variable that a lot of people you need to consider. Now, before I go all doom and gloom, I also think that, some of the people who I've discussed with, we've got some very intelligent members who we're able to chat it up with, and they, have some good information. From what I understand, we have the capabilities to contain it in, this hysteria that people are painting as far as like, apocalyptic kind of level. It's not there. But as far as the detriment to the impact that just having people sick at home who are going to recover, but just having them sick at home, the impact that that's going to have on our economy could be severe. Now, again, there are reasons that this won't happen. A simple thing like, the weather giving us some relief, and the cold weather going away, warm weather, less people are getting sick, their immune systems are stronger. From what I understand, my fiance is actually a pharmacist, and from what I understand, I think she was reading or speaking with some doctors, this virus, and again, I haven't been tuning too much into the news. I kind of have my outlets for information, so I don't know if this is already, well publicized, but apparently it doesn't survive or travel as well in warmer weather, which I initially thought the only benefit of warmer weather would be people's immune systems wouldn't already be compromised because they wouldn't already be fighting off some kind of cold or recovering from some kind of cold. I thought that the colder climate would actually be probably less hospitable to the virus, but apparently the warmer environment, I guess, might give it some kind of relief. And again, do your own research on there. So what I'm trying to say is there are reasons that this stuff won't all unfold, but we also have to look at what things we can do before, during, and after. First off, one thing I've learned, and I like to study philosophy, and I've studied Buddhism and all sorts of stuff. Stoic philosophy basically is where I really gravitate. So anything that you can control, do it. Anything that you can't, just let it go. All right. Become comfortable with the worst case scenario. If you have anxiety about any kind of circumstances, like we've had this, not this kind of experience, but we've had similar situations when a hurricane comes to Florida, and we've had several that were predicted to be really bad. We've been really lucky, knock on wood, and we haven't had any issues, but just one hurricane could completely wipe out our kitchen. Like, it wouldn't be an issue of like, oh, when power gets back on, our kitchen would be wiped out. We're actually still fighting with an insurance company for lost revenue that we had coverage for September. So not last September, but this most recent September. And sorry, I'm getting these alerts. And it's a whole headache to get that money. So if you're in that kind of situation, you're really looking at, like, realistically, the company's dead, and you have to be comfortable with that. Now, what happens? Let's say fast forward, company goes down, you have to stick to a day job, whatever else. You can always, if you have a client list, you can always revive that. It might not be everybody, but you won't be starting from absolute zero. And I think that's what a lot of people freak out about is, losing everything in any project or in anything in life. As long as you're still able to get up, dust yourself off, and try again, it's not over. You're just at a low point in your story. There's a lot of graphics, and I'll learn how to maybe have these things up to pull up and bring them on the screen. But I'm sure you guys have seen the memes where it shows an entrepreneurial journey, and a lot of it has like this major valley. As an entrepreneur, like, I have it programmed in my mind. I'm already comfortable with the fact that I might go broke several times in my life moving forward. I have to be comfortable with that. You might lose everything. You might lose the business. Your success might not be this meal plan business. It might be the next version of it. It might be out of the ashes of this. Hopefully not. But like I said, if you're comfortable with the worst case scenario, it allows you to focus more on the solution because you're not worried about the consequences of not solving it. It kind of gets you to be comfortable and put that fear in a bottle and just remind yourself that I can survive this. This isn't going to kill me. And I'm not talking about the coronavirus specifically, but the situation. Losing the business won't end you. So as long as you're comfortable with that, and again, I don't want to spike up fear or anything. And maybe, if anything, I want to go over the negative stuff before we go over into some of the ways that you can actually make this work for you. But you just have to be comfortable in any situation. I've learned through experiences in a hotel in Washington when we took off and we were bailing from, I think it was Hurricane Matthew a couple years ago. I remember looking out of the hotel window, looking out at the Washington, D.C. skyline, and I was just like, I should be appreciating, I should be present right now, but I can't be present because all I can think about is how much my identity is wrapped up in Fit Food Fresh. And without it, I was like, who am I? I would just have to start it over again. Yeah. And, I just kind of walked through that, and then I became comfortable with it. I was like, if this goes, my family's out of the state, I don't think that this will be a really fatal hurricane, but we were expecting it to be very devastating, and I got comfortable with the fact that, okay, if this all went, that doesn't matter. Like, it does matter. It would suck, but we can start it over. I could do something else. Like, it's okay. It'll just suck. It'll just be another chapter. It'll just be that low point. So in any case, doom and gloom stuff kind of over. Now, as far as the coronavirus and what that's going to do to your business, we have people who are, because of, I don't know what happened in other countries, but I know the stock market took a bit of a dip today. That I don't think is going to be, I don't think that's going to be a hurdle that we easily get over, but I don't think it's going to really affect the meal plan business to a cataclysmic level. You probably will have some members who are going to be a little bit tighter with their purse strings. What you need to do is educate people on the value of the meal plan, and the time that they're, you really have to sell the fact that they're not saving money by not being on the program. Unless your meals are crazy expensive and they're going to go down to peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, odds are there's still going to be a financial benefit to have the meals done with the amount of time that they're saving. Unless they lose their job or something like that, it's not necessarily going to impact us. I don't think, because it's not like our industries in the country are going to be affected immediately by this. It'll slow things down. A lot of supplies will just have to become more expensive, but people will still need to eat. They're still going to have a value on their own time, and the people who are working are going to continue to want a service like this. In the short term, what we've been having right now are people who are inquiring about a meal plan company for corona exposure prevention. They don't want to go shopping. They don't want to go out to restaurants right now for obvious reasons. So we actually have people who are contacting us. They're basically saying, we want to buy, a decent quantity of meals. They want to have us getting a call. They want to have us take over the majority of their meals, which is, great for business. And that is definitely a potential upside, not to be opportunistic. It's definitely sad that this is, the cause of, potential attention going towards meal plan companies. But the benefit right now as a meal plan company is definitely something that, you could take advantage of, and you're providing a service to them. You're keeping people from having to go out into situations. It's hard to get the masks and the Lysol. I think that'll be alleviated soon. I think they were just hit unexpectedly, and it's not like they have crazy reserves. People are freaking out a bit more. It is not, and again, not to downplay it, but I kind of hyped it up as far as doom and gloom earlier. It's a bad flu, and I think my fiance, again, she's a pharmacist. She was already saying, before coronavirus was even being mentioned, she was telling me a while ago that we've got some bad bugs going around. She's like, people are getting sick and they're staying sick for weeks. She's like, and I hate doing anything that doesn't benefit or move one of my projects forward. And that includes going to the dentist, going to the doctor, getting flu shots or whatever. I think I've got 2 flu shots now in my entire adult life, and one of them was this year. It wasn't my fiance who convinced me to do it, though she was telling me about all the bad bugs that were out there already before coronavirus. But right around when they started mentioning and talking about the coronavirus in China, and it wasn't in the States yet, my buddy was extremely sick. And he's actually got a YouTube channel as well, RDAP Dan. He does prison consulting. Really cool guy. He's a tough guy. And that's what kind of convincing. He's not overly macho, but he told me that he was going to the doctor literally in fear for his life because he was taking, I think it was his second trip to the doctor, maybe his third trip. He was taking, some antibiotics and some steroids and something for his cough. So he's taking 3 different medications for like a week, and he said he felt like he was getting worse. So there was already some bad bugs around. I'm not certain that it wasn't corona, because what's been brought up a lot is if there's no testing for a disease, they don't really know how many people have it. So it may already be, much more widely spread, and I don't think I'm saying anything that anybody can't grasp or probably hasn't already thought of. But if they're not testing for it, like, you don't know you have it. And if you aren't showing symptoms for a while, it also spreads pretty rapidly. He happened to have a flight to Washington right after it broke out in Washington, because I remember telling him, like, he was sick, and he's like, oh, I'm hoping I could kick it by this weekend. And I was like, dude, you, like, not even thinking he had it, like, dude, you're going to Washington, like, let's say you'll be able to kick this, thing that you got this weekend. Your immune system's going to be weak, and you're already going to Washington. So he had it before it was, like, in Washington. So it's too late to test for it now, I suppose. But it's one of those things where it's just a bad bug. Even if he didn't have corona, the symptoms that he was describing were just like it. So corona's not super unique as far as its effects on individuals. What makes it unique is really its ability to spread, because it stays active for so long. I think the latest numbers, at first I heard 3 days, which is terrifying. And now I think they're doing 7 days. I don't know if that's as a precaution. But in any case, any flu season, you are probably going to want to be taking the same approach. If people aren't already going to have the thought in their head, some people are already savvy to this. Some people are already smart enough to think, every time I go grocery shopping, I'm exposing myself. I can't buy these masks, not right now. Like I said, I think that will be easier to do in the future. But right now, and it's going to be weird walking around with masks. It's going to be weird psychologically for Americans, because we've always seen that foreign, and if your country hasn't had to wear masks that prevalently in public, it's going to be weird to be doing it and then seeing people. I think it's going to do something to people, it'll mess with people's heads a bit. So it's not going to be fun to be going out in these situations. It's going to be, creating a little bit more cortisol and stress hormones releasing through our brain. So it's not going to be a good thing. The smarter people will see the avoidable issue that is shopping. Right now, I mean, I think I go to the grocery store like maybe, I don't know, probably every 2 weeks, maybe 1.5 weeks. It's basically for pickles. I'll get some Enlightened ice cream, but with a meal plan company, you don't really need much. I'll grab eggs once a month just in case I want to make some extra eggs, and everything else is basically meal prep. I'll get these, jalapeno pita chips, the fire roasted jalapeno pita chips by Stacy's or whatever. Shout out to Stacy's. Those things are amazing. We use them for some of the chili dip. My fiance and I, we love doing that. And eggs, pickles, that's our grocery list. So if I was an average person and my big concern was, avoiding the coronavirus, because I don't want to bring that home to my kids, I don't want to worry about every single jar that was in any aisle that could have been sneezed on or coughed on, or even someone not showing symptoms yet can be carrying it. I think they said 3 days before you show symptoms, maybe even longer than that. I don't know. I didn't help myself by watching the movie Outbreak the other night. That kind of not only didn't mess up my numbers, but it gave me, now I'm worried about this thing, what do they call it, mutating, where it becomes airborne like it did in the movie. Again, that's not happening. It's just in the movie. It's fiction, guys. But in any case, if I had a family, I would love for somebody to put that idea in my head if I hadn't had that idea already. So let me turn down this volume a bit. It's going red, so I don't know what that means, but red's normally bad. So in a situation like this, we're definitely going to be launching a campaign to put this in people's minds. And I am concerned about if it seems opportunistic. I think if anything, we'd be able to get away with it before there's really like local tragedies or something like that. If you were in an area that might be more sensitive to that, you might seem, nowadays people are looking for everybody to be doing something wrong, or and there definitely are a lot of people doing, wrong things, but you want to convey the idea that people can reduce their risk to exposure if they're not shopping. And that's a really easy train of thought to follow. You have to convey it in a way that's convincing, and be able to, make sure that your service is consistent so that they're able to stay with you and trust you, and they know that the food's going to be there. Because if they're doing no shopping, they're going to be really pissed off on Monday or Thursday morning when your deliveries don't go through. But like I said, there's definitely an upside to this situation. And I feel even bad saying there's an upside. But there is a way for you to help people, and it would also be something that's good for your business. So that's enough for Corona. I don't have any questions yet, unless maybe I do have questions. I just can't see them because they're on this screen. No questions yet. Okay, cool. So Corona stuff aside, what are some other things I wanted to talk about? Oh, I wanted to see if I can, I wanted to take you guys through our software, actually. So this isn't the new site. I was hoping to do the new site, but I wanted to show you the new platform is going to be very similar. We're just going to have more stuff working, and it will be not so much aesthetically different, but it will be the structure of it will allow us to add new features and build really anything that we want. It'll be much easier for us to build it out into an app, which we plan on doing. That's basically our probably our phase 2 or 3. It's been a very long phase 1. It'll actually be on the 24th. It'll be 1 year since we started the project. The project was originally supposed to be 3 months. It's been a very, very long pregnancy. So we're ready to get this baby out and start playing and learning it. But it'll actually look very much like this. So let me see how I can share my screen. There we go. All right, and I'll put this over here. Let's start at the, tricked me. All right, let's start at the top. So we've got the, So we've got the dashboard at the top. On the dashboard, and I'm showing you guys just this in case you're building out your own software. Here's some things to think about, some stuff that you'd want to see. We're going to have so much more in our software, and it will be so badass that hopefully we will be able to share it with you guys. I believe that we've been told the structure that we built it on is the ideal structure. It's called .NET, and it's the ideal structure for what we want to do, which is build it and make it so that we can make other logins. So you would have your own version of this without us having to rebuild a whole different website and all these different functions and whatever else. Is really, really complex stuff. Like I said, we've been doing this for 6 years. This is I don't know what version of the site that's going to be launched, and there's still some stuff that'll surprise you, some snags and development stuff that you're just like, wow, this is complex. So anyway, these numbers aren't entirely accurate. So like this TBD, there's just some feeds that aren't feeding here. There's some data that's not being pulled. Some of it is on, I guess this is all on I don't know what's missing, because that's definitely, I don't know what this is. So I don't really use any of these reports. We've just been using the credit card transaction stuff. So like I said, the one problem with this is the data is not all feeding through. So the idea is what I want you guys to focus on. Actually, you guys don't care about the numbers. Numbers don't matter. So you'll want something where generating reports. Reports are huge. Being able to look at your data, visualize it in a bird's eye view, getting a range, will definitely, oh wait, maybe that is right. Okay, yeah, so this is for this month. Okay, so getting, actually I don't even know if it's right. No, it's not. It's part of it. Anyway, if I had all the data, you'd have everything filled out. You have more accurate numbers, but this is good enough. But this gives me a range of the month. Now I could switch over to, a week. I can play around and get all sorts of different views of what I want to see. But the general idea is your dashboard is where you're going to want to have your most important figures. This I wouldn't really say this stuff is important figures. The first dashboard, the first things I'd want to see on a dashboard would probably be week over week kind of stuff. Revenue would be good. I'd want to see new signups and other things like that. Really more sales, acquisition and attrition stuff. That's what you want to focus on. You want to be watching how many people are coming in, how many people you're losing, and this is how you would create client profile if you had to do it manually through the front end of the site. The client side, they're able to do it all themselves, but if you had somebody on the phone, sometimes we'll have maybe an elderly client who just wants us to walk through the setup or whatever case, or we can go in here and modify stuff. So this is what it would be like if we were creating it. We've got some different plans. This stuff is actually outdated. We're not really using it. These are just different ways to describe what plan they're on, what their status is, active or pause. Active means they're ordering, pause means no orders for them. We bifurcate our deliveries. Mondays and Thursdays is when we deliver. We do this overnight, so it leaves Sunday at midnight and it hits your doorstep before 6 a.m. Monday and Thursday morning. So Sunday and Wednesday is when it leaves. Facebook people, if you're watching this, just go over to YouTube because I can't share my screen with you. We'll do, I don't know. Let's see if I can switch that around. Probably wrap up after this. I'm not going to bother doing that. So, let me see. Whatever. All right, so yes, we have preferred contact methods. These days, people are very particular about how they want to be bothered. Most of them don't want to be bothered at all, right? Well, giving them an option of how they want to be communicated allows you to continue to reach out to them with the crucial information that you need to get to them. For instance, like if their credit card didn't go through, you want to reach out to them because they're going to be really disappointed if their first news of that is when they call you Monday saying, hey, where's my food? And we'll be like, well, your credit card didn't go through, but your profile says you don't want any calls, you don't want any emails, you don't want any texts. So you unsubscribed from our email list, you unsubscribed from our text list, and we didn't have the time to call you because it happened, whenever. The automated stuff that would have gone out didn't go out, so you didn't get noticed, you couldn't fix it, you don't got food. That's not the ideal situation because you missed out on the opportunity to get some revenue, and they missed out on the opportunity to get your yummy food. Facebook people, you're really missing out. So what else? Birthday. It's always nice to keep track of their birthday. Do a little birthday appreciation kind of thing. Send them a free dessert or something like that, some kind of acknowledgement. And then I don't know why this box is so big. This should have been this. This isn't a finished product, by the way. This was basically this version of the website that we're looking at right now. Again, it's going to look very similar to the new version that should be launching. Well, I was told today, but I've been told that several times. Should be launching eventually. This is basically a project that was built on Laravel. It's a different system. The benefit of Laravel is it is very mobile friendly, so we didn't have to build an app, and everything just kind of fits to your screen automatically. All the features kind of have that intention to be shrunk down and compressed. They have that in mind. So the menu and everything else like that responds accordingly. This was kind of a halted project. It just kept on going on and on and on, and then we just got to a limitation because of the basically the structure of this site. We were having to do too much hard code editing. So it's like changing the foundation in your building. I could move around some drywall pretty easily. I could, change out the window. But if you want me to take out a load-bearing wall and then add another story to it and then add a basement in an existing building, it's going to be bad news bears, right? So instead, we built a completely new system on a different platform, different coding, different language, but superpowers. Let's move to billing. Billing looks like a billing tab. Why isn't it going? Oh, there we go. Billing looks like a billing tab. Security code, all that jazz. You have the ability to delete the information if they wanted to. So they kind of see the same stuff on the member portal. Delivery notes. So now I'll explain this. Name, all that stuff is self-explanatory. AM, PM. We have 2 different delivery times. I do not recommend that you do this until you have enough people. And even to this day, we have the second delivery route, and we don't offer it unless we need to. If you're just a regular member, we're going to put you on overnight, the PM. The reason is, so you understand, the overnight or the PM is delivered by 6 a.m. So that leaves here at midnight, and it's on your doorstep by 6 a.m. So you wake up, the food's already there. The AM delivery, and this is confusing, but the AM is for basically later in the morning. Those will hit your doorstep between 8 a.m. and noon. So that is used for offices. It's used for building where the maybe we have to call in to get into your building. I can't put in a code. There's not a guard. That's when the AM is used. We like to do that sparingly because the AM drivers are dealing with morning traffic and afternoon traffic, which means it takes them longer to get the routes done, which means we got to keep the routes shorter if we're going to be keeping them on time and done within a small window. Also, those deliveries take longer. You're delivering to a person, which seems like, why would that matter? Well, the doorstep, drop it, you walk away. You don't even have to knock and wait for somebody. So when you're delivering overnight, it's much faster to just drop the bag, walk away. If there's an extra bag there, if they're returning the bag in the ice packs, you collect that, drop the bag, walk away. Done. Now, if you're delivering when someone's there, or you're going to an office and you're like, hey, I've got the food delivery for Ed. And they're like, oh, hold on, let me go find Ed. And they take off. I've been in situations where the person who went to go find Ed got sidetracked on some other project, and I ended up getting helped by a second person or something because they never came back, and another person walked in like, oh, hey, how can I help you? And I'm like, yes, I'm looking for Ed. I think somebody just went off to look for him, but they've been gone for a while, so I don't know what's going on. She took a cigarette break. I don't know. But you don't want to have your drivers overloaded with a full route. Full route cannot be done in the same period of time. A half a route would be pushing it. And I recommend your routes, by the way, kind of all over the place on live stream. Routes, 20 to 24 bags at the most. And these are our size bags. This isn't our color. I had this for another video, the bag video. So these are the bags we use. We can help you sell, buy these bags. That's another thing I wanted to mention with the Corona thing. We're stocking up on stuff that we know comes from other countries, and a lot of it comes from Asia. Andrew, what's up, man? Thanks for the comment. If you have any questions, let me know. How did you do that? Let's see. That must be on YouTube. It's my first comment. There we go. And I can say what's up. All right. Yeah, you got some questions about health and fitness. Now, again, I'm not certified in anything, but if they're general stuff, especially if you accept the fact that it might just be my uneducated opinion that I'm giving you, yes, you can ask me questions on anything. So as I was saying, supplies, you might want to stock up on, have a backup supply of bags. Containers, I know a lot of companies that make the containers in the States, so I don't think there will be that much of an issue, but I know that like bag makers, for instance, I think they get their materials from China, or they get them manufactured in China. So we'll have this delay. Oh, wow. All right, let me switch back over to. So we'll have this delay of feeling it, because we'll have factories that are here in the States, warehouses that are here in the States that are going through their existing inventory, and they're continuing to move that out. But now that warehouse isn't going to be replenished. So while you might not be seeing a bag shortage right now, if the things persist in China and the workers aren't returning to their factories, they're taking this very seriously. So My fiance also, aside from being a pharmacist, also has a e-commerce business where she sells stuff. She buys stuff in bulk from China, and repackages, resells it, and she's having the stuff that she's still able to get from China, where people are working. They're basically, I mentioned in the supply video that I did on buying stuff from overseas, they have trading companies, which aren't the manufacturer. They're between you and the manufacturer. So they buy a bunch of stuff from the manufacturer. They've got it in a warehouse, and then they can ship it out through that warehouse. So the people she's buying from right now are admitting that they're out of certain stuff. The factories aren't open. So the factories closed for Chinese New Year, which started in January. We're now in March. So we're going on like a month and a half that these guys are not producing anything. So that's crazy. That's definitely, like, even if the coronavirus is fixed tomorrow, we're going to feel something. It's a matter of when and how much. So maybe stock up on some bags and some things that are hard to source and detrimental to what you're doing. What's up, Angie? You got that fitness, was it health and fitness questions? Let me know. Let's go back to the software. How do I do that? There we go. All right. So, man, I got on a crazy tangent. All right, Andrew's question is, so I'm 13, lost a lot of weight, been doing fitness and health for about a year now, starting to feel more hungry than usual. I've been staying at about 170. Here's what I would do, and this, again, I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian, but I don't think that this is any, sensitive advice or anything I can get in trouble for, but find a BMR calculator, your basal metabolic rate. And what you're going to do is you're going to plug in your age, you're going to plug in your weight, your height, your gender, your activity level, which is, how much you're working out. Do you have an active job, or you're on your feet all day delivering packages for UPS, or are you sitting behind a computer and answering phones and, not leaving from your chair? So it gets an idea of what your caloric expenditure is. And then based on what your goals are, and you can find these all over the place. There are free calculators everywhere. What your goals are, and for you, those of you looking to start a meal prep company, kick this stuff to your members, because BMR is very basic science, and I think it's something that you can tell somebody to follow without any kind of licensing or certification kind of trouble. It's like telling someone to drink water. It's like common sense. You're not really prescribing anything. So I don't think you can get in trouble. And I'm normally very conservative about risk exposure as far as telling somebody what to eat. I've mentioned that in other videos. But I think that BMR is vanilla enough to really follow, and it's effective. It's basic math, Andrew. It comes down to, from what I understand, from what I've been told by people who are smarter than me about this subject, it is about your weekly average. So if there's a day that you go over calories or under calories, you can make it up with your weekly average. I know some people who save their calories for the weekend so they can eat pizza and beer. It all depends. My philosophy is all about balance. I have a round calculation, round numbers that I use for my BMR. I go for about 1,800 calories a day. And at your age, 13, you're still growing. I would definitely, you said that you lost weight. If you're eating clean calories, and that's really what you got to focus on, is the quality of the calories that you're putting in, not, 2,200 calories of cheeseburgers or something like that, because that's going to give you the wrong type of weight. But at 13, you could probably definitely, that's ugly. You could probably definitely get away with, adding some extra calories to that 17. I don't know what your height is. I don't know what your ideal goal or your activity level is, but 1,700 isn't that crazy. If you're looking to, bulk up a little bit, you definitely want to up that. And like I said, the BMR will give you a pretty accurate measurement. I think the last time I used a BMR calculator, my range is like 18 to 2,200 calories a day, I think, on average, like at a minimum. And then if I do some of my workouts or something, I normally try to up it and get a bit closer to mid 2000s. But for me to get to a goal weight, I remember years ago, I think I was close to like 4,000 calories a day or something like that at minimum that I'd have to eat. So it's definitely a game of math. Like I said before, the quality of the calories, lean protein, carbs aren't the devil. Complex carbs are better, but some simple carbs every once in a while. I know people have amazing results from keto. I would argue that a lot of that is probably because they're going on an exclusionary diet and they're probably having some negative reactions to some of the other stuff that they were eating, and it's not necessarily keto, but because most people aren't even measuring their ketones. But BMR, can't go wrong with that. Drink water, stop drinking any soda or anything else. I'll have one of these things a day and I still feel guilty about it. Some energy drink. Normally I try to go for a black coffee. You're 13, so I don't think you need black coffee or energy drinks for that matter. But yeah, man, hopefully that answered your question. Hit me up in the comments if it didn't. Back to the software. Sorry, guys. Don't really know how to do these live shows. I cater to what you guys say. So, software, delivery. Yeah, keep the AMs down to a minimum. Manage. This is basically where you would look up the... so if you look over here on the left, dashboard, and then we've got this section. We call them eaters. I know a couple of you... I've seen a couple of you adopt the whole calling them eaters. And I've seen some of your posts on social media where you refer to your eaters as eaters, your clients as eaters. We're very particular about that. This shouldn't be clients. We call people members. They're members or eaters. That's just what we like to call them. Clients, customers, that sounds cold. We call it the Fit Food Fresh family. Families don't have members. I'm sorry. Families don't have clients. Families don't have customers. Families only have members. So when you're with us, you're a member of the Fit Food Fresh family. So little details like that, I believe, matter. If you go to, there's a lot of books written on famous brands that are just known for that above and beyond detail. Nordstrom's, Disney is probably the best. Disney's got all these rules where you're not able to wear sunglasses when you talk to somebody. You're not allowed to point. Like all these little things that you wouldn't even really notice, but there's these little specific details in the way that they refer to people. I think they have to call them guests, or I forget what it's called, but in all serious hospitality, and hospitality is free, and so many companies don't do it. And your advantage as a small company, as starting out as a meal plan company, is the fact that you're small and you're able to give that attention to detail, and everybody in your company is within arm's reach. Not just your members, but your employees, because you got a small team. So you're able to hear somebody on the phone refer to somebody as a client or mention client when they're talking to somebody else. It doesn't matter if it's in the kitchen and there's no members around. Try to always have the habit of everybody using the vocabulary that you decide it is, and those little details matter. Even if the member doesn't notice, when they eventually hear the story, if they have maybe it's 5% of your people actually hear the story that you specifically called them members, and then they'll notice in every single one of your email when you refer to them, you call them members, or you call them guests, or you call them whatever you want to call them. You call them eaters. They'll see like, oh, they got that little special touch, and it doesn't have to be something corny like, oh, when you're here, you're part of the family member. Eaters. It could be guests. It could be something, and just say like it was because we wanted to do something more fun or more personal than just clients or customers. Another question from Andrew. Yeah, another one of my peeps I watch is Swole Enormous. I like him because he's straight up with people. Dude, Andrew, Swole Enormous is the reason that if you guys don't follow Swole Enormous, follow him. My small audience, I'll contribute them to Swole Enormous. Swole Enormous is a personal friend of mine. Swole Enormous is the reason, my buddy Swole Enormous, I'm not going to go by his real name. I don't know if he likes to let that out there, but Swole Enormous is awesome. His take on fitness is, fitness and health is just like cutting through the bullshit, cutting through, sorry for swearing, cutting through, the trends and the productization of fitness and health and wellness. And he just kind of delivers. He's got his own style, man. I was literally talking with him about how to do this live stream. The reason I'm using Ecamm is because of Swole Enormous. He suggested that I do that, so big ups to Swole. Any case, let's go here. Let's get into the menu. That's awesome that you're listening to Swole Enormous, man. Keep listening to Swole Enormous. He'll steer you right. He's got a good philosophy. As I was saying earlier, take some philosophy from everybody. Not just one person or another, but definitely throw Swole Enormous into your batch. He's very entertaining. He's got a degree in exercise science, and he's just cut the bullshit kind of guy. Eat whole foods, and yeah, he's a personal friend of mine. He actually used to be my trainer back before he was Swole Enormous. My buddy, my good friend, it's cool. Whenever we get on the phone, we have to allocate several hours because we don't talk frequently, but when we do, it's like at least 3 hours of going back and forth. My fiance was like, "Who were you on the phone with?" The first time we did that, I like stayed in my car because I lose reception when I drive up in the garage, and I just stayed in my car, like parked outside. I was like, "Here, you just go up. I'm gonna finish up," and hey, Andrew, my website is mealprepbiz101.com. I just launched it last week. I basically teach people how to start their own meal prep company. If any of you are viewing this and you haven't got an idea of who I am, I'm one of the proud founders of Fit Food Fresh, which you see part of it here. We're Florida's highest rated meal prep company. And my channel, my website, and my private group, and all the stuff that I do for you guys is all about teaching people how to do what we do, showing them behind the scenes. We started off with nothing, no experience, no friends. So this is our way to be the friend to other, noobs to the industry. There's plenty. Our philosophy is basically there's plenty of people who eat. There's plenty of people, or there's plenty of mouths to feed. So there's no reason that we have to be cutthroat competition. No one's ever going to put anybody out of business if we're all doing things the right way. And on this channel, that's what we learn to do, and on my website. So this is, by the way, Andrew, this is the back end of our software. Since you're, in the comments, I figured I'd show you what we're looking at. Feel free to ask me more questions, though. I'm all over the place with the live stuff. This is my first one, so thank you so much for being my first participant in my comments on the live video. I appreciate the support. Happy to answer any questions I can. This is our menu. So this is where the menu changes weekly, and we cycle through items. It's about a 6-week rotation. We have, last I counted, it was over 100 items on the menu every week, which is crazy. And if you're just starting off, don't feel that pressure. That's something you build into. It's I always refer to the law of large numbers. As you gain in size, you'll have to get into these different niches and get a little bit more specific based on the demands. If you talk to 10 people, probably okay serving, lasagna and hot dogs, right? Talk to 100 people, probably going to get a couple of vegans in there. So you're going to have to, cater to that, or some gluten sensitivities. At 1,000 people, it even opens you up to more stuff. Now, if you've got 100 members and you've got one person who wants vegan food, it's probably not going to justify the production costs, right? So it's just about knowing what your threshold is and knowing your numbers and just saying, okay, here's what I've got planned out for vegan, or here's what I've got planned out for XYZ menu. Once we have this many people, or this percentage of our population, really it should be on this many people, then it justifies it. If you're getting a lot of demand for it, then you might want to try the menu. What I always try to do is when you have those leads for people who you can't satisfy at that time because you don't offer vegan, you don't offer a gluten-free distinguishment. Maybe you offer gluten-free, but the menu isn't marked well, or there's not a filter. Like on our website, you actually have a filter where you can filter out. I'll show you guys. Let's look at the front end for a little bit. All right, we'll go right over to the menu. Poke around on the menu. Please don't fill out the contact form, because that does go to our guys and they get really confused when someone from my channel contacts. All it is, you're not learning anything. You're just sending an email to our guys and they're going to call you back. What you can learn from is okay. So it looks like we are in the middle of our website switching over. So that's hopefully good news. But normally, if the website wasn't switching over and they weren't merging data, you'd see a bunch of meals right here. You'd be able to select from, these are the different menus, so you'd be able to select just the ones that you want to see. So let's say I only want to see healthy gourmet and keto, and vegan and breakfast items and some kids menu. So this is a great design for a menu, because this allows me to have a crazy amount of things on the menu, but then also filter it so you don't have to go through 100 items to pick the handful of things that you want. We also have filters down here so you can limit it to a caloric range. We can do fats, carbs, protein, sodium. You guys get how that goes. Then you switch over to the Thursday menu. Thursday menu again, let's pretend that there's pictures of delicious meals here. Sorry, my throat was getting dry. Again, same thing. Filter it out so you don't have to look at everything. If you guys have ever been to the Cheesecake Factory, and if you're from out of the country, I don't know how far Cheesecake Factories have traveled, but I believe it's owned by Darden, who's the same restaurant company, restaurant family conglomerate or whatever that owns Olive Garden and Bahama Breezes and Smoky Bones and some other ones. I believe Cheesecake Factory. In any case, Cheesecake Factory is known, it's a restaurant that's known for having a crazy menu. If you were to tell me that there's 300 things on the menu, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a crazy menu. It's pages and pages of stuff, and it's like, it's something for everybody, but it's like, it's too much for everybody. There's not one person who would go through that entire menu, and the worst thing you can do on that menu is to find something you like and then keep going, because you're going to find something else you like, and you're going to be like, oh, should I get this or that? And you keep going. It's like, oh, I found 3 things. I'm split between all 3. Then you ask the waiter and like, I don't know. And in any case, let me get back. The pain is you don't want to have a crazy menu, because it makes it hard for you to go through. It makes it, hard for people to make a decision. They might be clicking on something that looks good, the picture looks cool, and then they realize that it's a vegan item and they don't want to eat vegan, or it's whatever it is. The filters allow them to avoid that. They're not going to click on something that's out of their macro range, because they can say, okay, I want to be medium carbs, I want to be low calories, and it just populates those items. So that's one reason that we went with the filters as opposed to like a traditional menu, and I think this gives us a huge advantage. I've seen some other sites that are doing it, but I still see a lot who don't have a filter, and it's kind of annoying. It's cool that you have the menus broken up, but and again, I wish I had all the food here so I could show you how the macros are displayed as well, because envision the pictures. Maybe try this after the broadcast. It should be up tomorrow. Hopefully it's up in hours, because we're not getting orders right now, I'm guessing. But there'll be a picture. You hover over it with your mouse and it'll show you the macros and the ingredients on it. Sorry, Andrew, we cannot. Andrew's asking if you can get the meals in Texas. We only deliver to South Florida, unfortunately. We've got 4 counties down here: Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, and Martin County, and those are the only counties where we can deliver. But I appreciate you wanting to support us. That's awesome. If we ever come to Texas, we'll definitely let you know about it. We've had our eye on Austin, mainly because I've got a really good friend who moved out there, and I've been out there a couple of times, and I absolutely love Austin. But we've also seen there's some good meal plan companies already out in Austin, so maybe we won't rush out there. But then again, everyone could use some Fit Food Fresh, right? We'll see. Stay tuned. But Andrew, for right now, we can't make it to Texas. I do apologize for letting you down on that. All right, so that's the front end of the menu. Now this is what you'd see as the current menu. So this is the stuff you should be seeing. And again, on the site, you'll see these. I think they're 4 wide. And then when you hover over them, it'll show you the macros. It takes away the picture and it shows you a screen with the macros and the ingredients and all that stuff. A bit more of a description so you can see what the sides are and all that. The upcoming menu is the menu that it's about to switch over to. So this is the one that's up, and then this is the one that we're going to switch over to the next rotation. We have it's a coding function called a cron. Cron as in like chronological. So it runs a specific set of instructions at a specific time. And the cron in this case switches the menus over. Now we have 2 or 3 crons, I think, set up. One switches One drops the Monday menu, one switches over the entire menu, and then one runs the automatic meal selection and placement for our menus. We have an automated system that will select for your menu for your members based on their previous ordering history and any dislikes that they put in there. So it'll pick around there for them. It'll basically say like, oh, he liked the chicken carbonara. System's gonna order for him the chicken marsala, unless you say that you don't like mushrooms, in which case it'll order something else. But Andrew's got some more questions. Definitely, I appreciate the support, Andrew. If we ever come to Texas, we'll definitely reach out to you and let you know. Right now, we're focusing on dominating Florida, having a good time doing it. We would definitely go to Texas, though, if it looked like it was going to be fun and appreciated out there. I know you guys got some amazing food. I went out to, I can't assume that you're from Austin, because I know Texas is massive, and Austin's like 4 hours away from the next big city. So Texas is definitely got a special place in my heart. And my fiance is actually licensed in Texas, and her brother lives in Texas. So I do like Texas. We do want to mess with Texas. And we'll definitely let you know if we come out there, Austin. We do have snacks on our menu. Right now, our menu's not up on our website, Fit Food Fresh. We're doing a changeover, doing some updates to a new platform, actually. But normally we have snacks. We do, I think, 5 snacks and 5 desserts every week. The snacks will go from anything from, we've got some pretty amazing soups, some really good soups I've been enjoying the last few weeks. We do soups. We do, I think, the brownies. I can't remember if the brownies, I think those are a dessert. We'll have all sorts of little things. We have these keto, one really cool new one is keto broccoli, and I think it's broccoli, cheese, and egg. And I like to throw them in the toaster, and they're like these little, not really hash browns because they're massive. It's the size of a broccoli, but it's imagine like a chunk of broccoli that is just covered in egg and cheese, and it's just delicious and keto-y. San Antonio. Okay, so San Antonio I think is a bit a ways from Austin, if I remember. I was talking to some guy who was from San Antonio when I was out there. So close enough to drive into. It's like us in Miami. Like San Antonio I think is like 45 minutes or an hour from Austin. It's like Miami for us. Like I'm close enough to drive there, but not close enough to want to. Let's see. Create new items. So if we were adding new items into the menu, these are some icons maybe you guys wouldn't have noticed. You would have seen it if the menu was up, but you didn't notice them because it was not up. So these are some different icons that we have up there to display that it has soy, it has peppers. Even if it's not a spicy pepper, we do have people who have allergies to bell pepper. So you're going to want to display your allergens if you can. And again, this will be like an evolution of your site, or like I said, if we're able to license this out to you and make you guys logins, you'd have this, all these capabilities and more. This is actually the site that's getting replaced. So this is the garbage one compared to the new one. And dairy, vegan, to signify that it's vegan, make it easier, because we do have the vegan menu, as you guys saw, but then we'll also have items that are like on the snack menu or the dessert menu or the cold item menu or the breakfast menu that are also vegan or are also keto or whatever else, even though we don't have a keto thing. But it just also signifies that just because this isn't on the vegan menu, it is actually still a vegan item. We have at least 10 items a week, maybe it's 12. I think at least 12 items a week that are dedicated to vegan. These are ingredients, so if we want to add more ingredients to our database, it allows us to do that. They're obviously all alphabetical here. We've got nothing that starts with a U. That lets us, nothing that starts with an X, not xanthan gum. That's interesting. So this isn't actually a database that is being used because I don't think we were able to have it work on this site correctly. But the idea was to have all the ingredients that we have. Then each of the ingredient database and the recipe database is also going to be something that's on the new site, and it'll talk to the ordering system. So it'll know, the ordering system is going to know what's in the meal, all of the ingredients and all of the sides and everything else. And the system is then going to allow you to say, I don't like, whatever it is, radishes, raspberries, red potatoes. I don't like whatever it is. And then on the members side, they're also able to type this in. So if they start typing in onion, it'll do a search and do a, added, completion search for, or completion suggestion for onion, red onion, yellow onion, whatever else. And you're able to select what you don't like. That way, if it is in the dish, it'll be able to filter it out if there was a week where you didn't want to select your food, because a lot of people do like picking their food, but it becomes inconvenient after several weeks and you're just busy. So having an automated option is going to be crucial for you to grow to a large size, because you're going to be dealing with so many people. Like I said, the rule of large numbers, there's going to be a percentage who want your food and they're just too busy and they forget. And the older the system is, the longer they've been on your system, the less exciting and less front of their mind this is going to be. The novelty is going to wear off. So you definitely want to have some automation built in. Orders. This is where we can go through the actual orders. So these are a bunch of different orders that are placed through. You're able to see the amounts here. Again, this is not the back end isn't really fitting very nicely. It looks like there's one column too many. Probably get rid of the invoice thing or chop that down to like 5 digits or something. And then we can go in and edit. We can void it out. Let's say someone calls and like, hey, cancel it. No problem, void it. We can go in and edit it, and that would be where we would change around the items that are on it. We could change the quantities right here. So it's like, hey, I saw the order went through. I wanted 2 of the fully loaded barbecue pulled pork, and reduce the pesto crusted chicken. I don't want it this week, or whatever it is. So we're able to add these things. Here's something else that you would see on the menu. New item, bring their attention to that. People don't notice. If you've got dozens of items, they're not going to notice that something's new. It's all going to look the same, and you'll receive more complaints about everything, nothing ever changes. And that's if you're able to get them on the phone to tell you that. If you're constantly putting up a new item and then showing them that it's new, even if it's something that they wouldn't order, they'd be like, oh, they are putting up new stuff. It's just something I wasn't, it doesn't appeal to me. I don't eat pork, so I really didn't look at the pork dishes. If you're showing that there's a new pork dish coming up, at least I don't have it in my mind where it's like, oh, they never come up with anything new. Like, oh, they've got a new item. It's just not something I like this week. Maybe next week. Premium, we charge more for certain proteins. So if you get a steak or wild salmon or something like that, you're going to pay a $4 upcharge. So we also like to let them know. People are very sensitive about their money. If you ever take somebody's money or take more money than they were expecting to give you, they're not going to be happy about that. If they find that out at checkout and they didn't know it was a premium item beforehand, they're not going to be excited about that. We don't put our prices on the individual meals because the pricing is based on your membership. So one person might be paying, $13 for the same dish that somebody else is paying $14 or $11 for it. It's all over the place. So we don't put the prices on the meals. It's just based on your account. This account you could see is at an $11 rate, and they've got 6 meals total, so $66, and it looks like they're a delivery client. So the delivery fee is added after the total. That's weird that the delivery fee is only $8. I'm gonna have to look into that because normally it's supposed to be $15. That is weird. Okay, so in any case, declined orders. This is a very important report because the alternative would be you combing through your authorized.net account, your backend account, and that's just a pain. This makes it easier. This right here, we know that we've got 4 people who we need to get updated credit card information according to today. So these are people who their credit cards, their order, they try to put an order in, and they might not know that it didn't go through. If they don't go to their email and see that they got it rejected, they might just go on their week. And some people, I'm sure we all have an old email that gets all of our junk. Everything you sign up for something, you're like, you're gonna send me a lot of emails, right? I'm gonna give you my BS email account from high school that I never go into. If they set up your meal account under their old one, they're not gonna get that rejection letter. So Sandra goes and puts an order in, presses purchase, thinks it went through, gets an email to the email that she never checks. It's sitting there in her inbox, unopened. And then next week, Monday's going to roll around. She's going to call here. Where's the driver? I got to go to work. What's going on? Horrible way to start your Monday. It's a horrible way for us to start on Monday because that call is basically saying, I wanted to give you money. I tried giving you money. Now I can't go back in time and you lose that week. So if you're able to find these people and reach out to them, they obviously wanted the food. That's why there's an order put in. It might be a little embarrassing for some of them, but you just say, hey, there's probably some problem with the card. Don't say your card got declined. You say, hey, there's probably some kind of problem with the card. Happens all the time. Just wanted to verify it. You want to try another one maybe. It might be weird with that. Give them the benefit of the doubt, whatever. Don't call them saying, hey, your card got declined, because they're just not going to call you back. We've had people who have left because their cards declined, and it was just embarrassing for them. I mean, we don't know that was the reason. Maybe they canceled their card because they wanted to passive-aggressively cancel service, and they just didn't want to tell us. But it's a sensitive issue. Money's a sensitive thing. When you take somebody's money, when they don't have money, like your ego is so tightly wrapped up into money. SKU search. Don't know why that's loading. Another benefit of our new structure, it'll be loading in they're spitting out the time, and it was point something seconds. It'll be way better than this. The latency of this design is a big issue. Quick story. This summer, one of the problems that we had with our Laravel site was this summer we let's go over to cooking table. So this lets chef know what his quantities are. So the meals so far this week were was it Monday? It's Monday. So these are the orders that we got so far. So far only one Baja chicken bowl. So over the summer, as I was saying, it hit the crescendo over the summer. But it started a few months before, I think around March of last year, where we started getting reports of people saying, hey, your site's not working on my iPhone, or it doesn't work when I'm at work. It works when I'm at home, but it doesn't work when I'm at work, keeps crashing. We're just like, that's really odd. Oh, sorry, Austin, I just read this now. Yeah, you're 45 minutes from Austin. I haven't been to San Antonio yet, but definitely have to check that out next time. There's so much to do in Austin. My buddy moved there, a good friend of mine, and we just have a blast throwing disc golf and a ton of stuff to do. Floating down the river for 4 hours. They got a 4-hour river float down there. All right, man, definitely check out website. Thanks for the support, Austin. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Hey, man, I appreciate you giving me the comments. Austin, if you're not reading the comments or if you're watching on Facebook, Austin's just saying that he appreciates me answering his questions in the comments, responding to them. Andrew, sorry about that, Austin, talking too much about Austin. Andrew, thank you so much for commenting. I appreciate that, man. Any question is a good question. I'm glad it was something that I was able to help you out with. If I couldn't, I wouldn't have BS'd you, I promise you. So, yeah, these are, back to the website, sorry. Website started having more and more latency issues, so it went from every once in a while on a phone to now it never works on my phone. And it was first it's when the Wi-Fi is weak, and now it's not working at all. Now it's not working on my iPad. Then it got to the point at its height where it would just crash on almost any iOS device. Well, we found out it was a Safari thing, because Safari waits for a shorter period of time than I guess Chrome does for your website to load, and the website was loading slowly or slower because it was actually trying to pull up all of the items, every single menu item at one time, even though it was only displaying the menu items that were available for that week. So it would dive into a database and pull up every meal item, all the ingredients that are built into it, the relationships, like the SKUs, all these things, all this information gets pulled up at one time to put on the website when you access the menu. But it would only display that week. So we didn't know what was going on. Now, how many items were getting pulled up? Over 900 by that point, because we kept on adding to the meal database. It just keeps growing. Something fails, we replace it with something else. We're always adding to it. So we had over 900 items that were in the menu database cycling through. Those were getting pulled up unbeknownst to us. So our summer was very brutal. It was just crashing. Imagine at least 50% of people, somewhere around 40 or 50% of people are on iPhones or an iOS device, and they were crashing. About 60% of our members order through some kind of a portable device, iPhone, smartphone, iPad, something like that. 40% are done on desktop. So out of that 60%, let's say half of them are just crashing. We had people who said they wanted to report us to Yelp because they hadn't tried the food yet. Literally, a guy messaged us through Yelp. He's like, I want to write a bad review. After reading all these great reviews, I'm so frustrated by your site that I want to throw my phone. 5 times now I've tried to log in and give you my money. And I'd like tell the guy, like, trust me, man, I want to take your money. I want to make you a happy member. But we don't know what's going on with their site. That was a whole nother programming issue. So, yeah. So that's another benefit. Here I go, digressing again. Packing list. So this is for packing. So these are, our members, their names, their address, all that fun stuff. And then these are based on the SKU, all down to the SKUs. M tells me it's Monday. See, all these start with M because they're for a Monday delivery. 33 tells me that it's from menu 3. And HG tells me it's from the Healthy Gourmet menu. And then 2 tells me it's item 2. So on the Healthy Gourmet menu, this is item 2. On Healthy Gourmet menu, this is item 6. This tells me there's one of them. This tells me there's one of them. PM is the Paleo menu. It's now keto, but we kept the SKU the same. FF is the favorites menu. What else do we got? You guys get the point there. Delivery. So this populates the delivery list for our software. Right now, we use a third-party system that we just export and load this into. So it's got delivery information. We can select the driver if we wanted to, and we'd be able to contact them if we needed to, reach out through the cell phone if we needed to. We get all that information right here for the driver, and then we just export that. Credits are, we used to offer a prepaid program, so a lot of the credits are from people who are prepaying for meals, and we don't offer that on site anymore, but we grandfathered in people who were doing it. So we still have a percentage of the population who are doing that. And these other people are, maybe they canceled an order and we credited it back, or if there's like this one right here, this amount, $775, that's probably a prepaid client. Now the danger of prepaid is you're basically amortizing your Good point, Nug. I was actually realizing that while I was going through. I was like, man, I'm showing some sensitive information, so I'll probably have to pull this one down from YouTube after I broadcast it and maybe blur it out. But I was literally just thinking that. That's why if you see me like scrolling up and down on the last one, I was like, oh, I've got emails and addresses here. That's not smart. I would not appreciate that if that was me. So this information hopefully is a bit more benign, but that was a good point. Thank you for that. And thank you for subscribing, Andrew. I appreciate that. Everything counts, man. Hit those chests and abs, bro. For those of you on Facebook. Oh, we got someone on Facebook. How many meals average per hour can you guys pack? Meals per hour. I don't know the new number because we just changed the team structure around. But I would say, let me see. I'd say probably at least packing. So for those of you who are on Facebook, Jason has a question. He wants to know how many meals we can pack in the average hour. So for a team of, I think it's a team of 7 right now, they're getting through, I think it's a little bit less than 1,000 meals an hour, because I think it takes them about 5 hours to bang out 4,000 meals. It will depend upon which day it is, because the Thursday flow is going to be lighter, less meals per bag, so that'll go a little bit faster. But then you also, as far as packing individual bags, but then you have the variable of, icing and stuff more frequently. So that can easily change. Being down one person can add, an hour or two to that. But I think right now, I think it's 7 people with the manager, and I think they're doing they'll do about 4,000 meals in 5 hours, I think. But I can get you better numbers. Actually, I'll actually get updates on that Wednesday. That should give me a good idea for Sunday. Good question, Jason. I appreciate that question. That's a good one. All right, so again, back to credits. Prepaid. It is a tempting thing to do, and in the beginning, it might be a very clever thing to do. But one thing I want to make you realize is you have to do the math on it. But I remember doing the math, and essentially one of our prepaid programs, I think the one with the biggest discount, where they were buying like 300 meals at a time, it was basically like taking a 35% loan. Now, if you can outperform that interest, if you're able to make more money than 35% on that money that you're getting fronted, great. Otherwise, it feels like a bunch of free money, but you're actually going to amortize that debt via food payments out into the future. And then what really sucks is if someone has to cancel the program. So that's why you're not going to see prepaid programs being offered on our site anymore. It's just because it's not worth it. It could be good in the beginning, but it's something you want to grow out of, because you're just discounting the food so much. There's really not that high a margin, and especially with our business where we offer such a great refund policy. Basically, we have a 100% satisfaction guarantee on everything. As soon as you do a couple refunds, you're easily losing on the deal. So again, this is showing me how many credits these people have, who's at what levels. Again, this guy up here, he's definitely a prepaid, that kind of amount. It would suck if tomorrow this guy's like, oh, I'm moving to Cincinnati, refund me $2,300. Like that would suck. And then you have to like go back and forth and be like, oh, well, we got to kind of adjust it because now you're not buying the discounted rate. So the meals that you did buy have to burn through your rate faster by adjusting. It's a whole headache. Here's how you issue some credits on our screen. And that's really all there is to credits. Got another question? One moment, guys. I'm a slow reader and small font. How do you guys come up with your menu? Do you like keeping it simple or complex? We've got everything on our menu. We kind of range. Do you rent or own your commercial kitchen? We rent our kitchen. We have about 6,000 square feet total between our kitchen, our offices. The office is probably about 1,000 square feet. The kitchen is probably about 2,500 square feet. And then the remaining 2,500 would be behind this wall right here is our warehouse, which we've now converted into 2 walk-in refrigerators. So now the entire facility has 3 walk-in refrigerators, a walk-in freezer, a bunch of chest freezers and stand-up freezers and stuff like that. So there's a lot of space. But we rent. We've thought about buying. Maybe when the market dips down, it would be an opportunistic time to buy and build out. But we've also heard quotes that we could easily spend $1 million trying to build out the kitchen to spec that we would need. And it's kind of scary to put into a building right now. And I don't really know anything about real estate, so we've been advised to just keep making meals. As far as the menu, we have the chef writing the menu. We were writing it off and on for the majority of the majority of our existence. We've probably been the ones writing the menu, and it's a mixture of the way we do it is we'll either get an idea from a restaurant that we like, but most of the stuff that we find on the menu would be us, going on Google and going to like healthycooking.com or something like that, anything, and just going into the database. And if you want to make a keto thing, just do keto recipe and then fill in the blanks, see where it goes. Keto, I don't know, chicken parmesan, or figure out something that you want to do. If you have an idea of what you want, and again, this might not fit your meal plan model. Our meal plan is based on our experience as members, what we wanted. So that's at the heart and soul of what we do. It's kind of us steering the ship. Now, our current chef is more active than our last chef was in writing the menu. The last chef is like, when we gave him a guilt trip about it, he would, spice up the menu, but for the most part, he didn't get, paid more to do it, so he just kind of like let it go unless we were on him. Current chef is all about improving and everything, so that's great. But if you have to make your own menu, especially in the beginning, when we were working with caterers and people who didn't care about the company, we were the ones who had to write the menu. We're the ones who had to change the menu. We had to, the caterers be like, oh, I make this all the time, people love it. It's like, no, according to sales, people don't love it. So we're going to make this instead. It's like, oh, you really should. Yes, make that. Figure out how to make that. I remember this one time I went to a restaurant and I thought it was super fancy that they put, I don't know why, I just never had creamed corn on salmon before. And the salmon was like nice and crispy on the outside, but buttery, and the creamed corn. And I was just so impressed with it. And I forget what it was on a bed of, but I was like, we got to put this on the menu. And that was like, I thought that was so cool because I was able to like take something that I liked and then put it on the menu. And I actually liked our version a little bit better. Finishing up on the website, and then I'll go back to the big screen. Coupons. Thank you for the question, Fit Prep Meals. Where are you based out of? Coupons. Coupons are something that a lot of people probably don't think too much about. Actually, let's check out how we create it, because this is where you're going to see all the nuances and stuff. So think of a coupon. How's it going to work? Just think of something. You're like, oh, it's going to be a percentage off or a dollar amount. Well, there's a lot of other things that you're going to want to consider. Sometimes you're only going to want to write a coupon that only comes into effect if you buy X amount of meals. Sometimes you want to write a coupon that you can only use if you spend X amount of dollars. Sometimes you want to write a coupon that's only good for your dessert menu, or only good for this new menu, or whatever else. Sometimes you're going to want a menu that expires after a certain amount of time. Sometimes you're going to want am I saying menu? I'm so sorry. Sometimes you're going to want a coupon that, was I saying coupon? I don't even know. I'm going to have to check it and be embarrassed later. Sometimes you're going to want a coupon that does X, Y, Z. So let's walk you through everything here and I'll explain what it means. Here's where I create the code. So here's some codes we've used in the past. Can create whatever. Test is the name of the code. So now if you enter test, you get whatever we're going to describe here. Now I could put 25. I can make that $25. I can make that 25%. Let's make it $25. Single use coupon code. This up here means in its life is it only going to be used once and then no longer done. No matter how many people try to use it, it'll only use once for that first person, that first transaction. If so, then click yes. If it's something that I want people to be able to reuse or multiple people to use once, then I would leave this at no, because since I want it to work more than once, and we'll get to the other part later, but we'll leave that at no. Start date, expiration date, self-explanatory. Minimum meal count. You have to order at least 10 meals. You have to order at least 5 meals. You have to order whatever it is. Minimum purchase. You have to, this is a certain dollar amount. So you have to spend $100 and you get X% off. Baltimore, very cool. Haven't been, I know a buddy who, I was reading the same question again. I have a buddy who lived in Baltimore for a while. He said it was a blast, and I'm definitely a fan of crab cakes. We don't have a lot of good crab cakes. If you are ever in Florida, the only place in Florida I would recommend to have crab cakes is the Key Lime House in Lantana. It is the epitome of Florida. It's on the water. Google it. It's the old Key Lime House in Lantana. I think the family of Corderos who own the Key Lime House, they're from Maryland, and the father, his previous restaurant that really I think is where he made a lot of money growing up when he was younger, was Joe's Crab Shack or Jack's Crab Shack or something like that. That was in another county down here in South Florida, but they know their crab, and man, their crab cake is phenomenal. I'm gonna have to check out your website, Fit Prep Meals. Put it in the comments. I'd love to check it out. And we could all be learning from each other. Check out my website. There's a lot of stuff that we're not doing. We don't have a blog. We don't have videos. So this is just the ordering system. Going through now, obviously, I could also make it all categories. I could say just certain menus. So that's another thing. And then the description. Why does this coupon exist? So you don't want to just have it out there in your database, and then over here you can manage and you get an overview of all the coupons. So we got a 15% off here. All these other. This one has an expiration on it. The other ones don't. This tells us the max usage. This says the minimum meal count. So fun. But that's that. And Let's go. All right. It looks like maybe what I should do is I want to go live regularly, and I haven't landed on a day or a time yet. Okay, can't post the link. All right, you know what? I'm not an idiot. I am an idiot. I'm not dumb enough to not be able to figure out where Fit Prep Meals is. So I'll definitely, it's in Baltimore. Why did I even ask? I'm just being lazy. Fit Prep Meals. I'm going to put that in my search and I'll go to it. I'll check that out later. I got put in Baltimore. So I'll check that out. Definitely interested in checking out anybody's site. Love checking out sites, and I'll give you some feedback if I have any. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys as far as this site is concerned. If you guys have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I don't know where you guys tuned in as far as the coronavirus and all that fun stuff that I was discussing in the beginning of the video. But yeah, summary, coronavirus sucks. There may be some stuff that is going to impact us, but can't do a whole lot about it. Stock up on the things that you can stock up on. Obviously, buying a bunch of food, unless you have crazy refrigeration and freezer space, really. Not going to be something you can really do, but stocking up on bags and other things that you know are probably coming from China. Containers, I know a lot of companies make them in the States. If you know that your containers are coming from China, either switch to a different model, maybe get some inventory, or find... Oops, sorry, I got another alert that distracted me. And then whatever I was saying, and then we went through the site. Again, I'm very sorry that the site is not up, the new site. I will show you that, but this will be very similar. If anything, it'll be this plus more things, and the new site will actually work. I think I'm going to do that on the so far it looks like it's difficult for me to broadcast on both Facebook and YouTube. I think I've got it figured out, but the new site I'll probably stream when we go through that. I'll probably do that on the Facebook group, so definitely check that out and sign up for that if you're not on the Facebook group. Hopefully next week. I'll say next week because it's any hour now. I think they're literally in the process of doing it, but I don't want to set any expectations and jinx it. So hopefully next week I'll be able to walk you guys through that, and then hopefully not too much. Exactly. People are going to be staying home. Nug on YouTube just mentioned people are going to be staying home and ordering meal prep. So it's a bad thing overall, but you can help a lot of people avoid exacerbating the situation, provide a service that they didn't even think of as a solution, because maybe they're thinking, oh, meal prep's just for healthy people. No, meal prep right now is for people who don't want to go out in public. Meal prep right now and always is about convenience. So whether that convenience is the convenience of avoiding going to a store and touching random cans and boxes and whatever else that may have been sneezed on that you're going to have to somehow figure out how to Lysol. And by the way, good luck trying to buy some Lysol. But yeah, there's no shame in pushing that. Like I said, we've got a campaign that we're going to be pushing out. I was a little hesitant on it. I was like, screw it. And we're going to be pushing the idea of stop shopping, you idiot. You're putting everybody at risk. We'll do a discounted rate for some relief on due to the coronavirus, so the meal plan won't be the same price. But if that's their priority, we'll definitely help them achieve it. But that's all I've got for you guys. I've got another video coming out tomorrow night. What was the last one on? The last one was on importing. I forget what this new one's on. I should have looked that up if I was half professional. Let's see. I'll look it up for you guys right now. I shot them and had them edited last week, so they're not in the front of my brain. It's been a crazy week with this site development. And I'm in the wrong folder. All right, the next one is on... Did I do the importing? Yeah, I did the importing. It's either on importing or wholesale. I forget. Sorry, wasting your time. It's been a long day. All right, guys, that's all I've got. I've done over my hour, and I promised I wouldn't do that. Man, I lied. Yeah, that's a good point. As far as what you can do as business owners, you can't. Nug is bringing up some great stuff. Nug Demolisher. I like that name, man. I just read the full thing. I was just like, oh, Nug, first name. Nug Demolisher is bringing up some good points on YouTube. You can't control too much outside, but inside your company, that's what you can control. So cleanliness, as soon as someone, like, I was telling Chef, like, don't you think we should all just be wearing masks, like, in case, because people are, sick without showing symptoms for 72 hours now. So we're discussing that. The cleanliness and everything is at an all-time high. We've got our assistant going around with disinfectant on all the door handles and things like that. So you want to keep your team as healthy as possible, because regardless of what's going on outside, if that comes inside, bad news bears. And you can't control, we've got people who are very active in church and, private things in their private life, social groups that I can't tell them to not go to church. I can't tell them to not go to an AA meeting or to their daughter's recital or to XYZ event. I can't tell them to not go to the group workout class at their gym. I can't tell them to not go to the gym. I can't, so while they're within your walls, try to reduce the exposure that the external private lives are going to have on other people. If someone's going to get sick, try to keep it down to one person getting sick. Because from what I understand, there's already some bad bugs out there, as I was mentioning before, and this is like easy 2 week. Healthy as a horse, you're still going to be down for 2 weeks, and I've heard it's at least a week where you're useless. Like my buddy who we don't think it was coronavirus, but it was still really bad, and it took him I think it took him 2 weeks to finally break the fever. He was like sick and almost useless for a month, and I think he said it was about 2 months before he said he felt 100% again. I remember talking to him a month into it, and he sounded like crap, and he's like, dude, I'm 100 times better than I was. One more question. Do you think family meal prep packages, I think, are a big value add? We've started doing it. If you look on our menu's not working right now. If you guys were watching earlier, we're updating the site, so hopefully that's the reason that the menu's not working. But family portions, we were originally calling it by the pound, but just to make it more family friendly for marketing, we called it the family size portions. I've seen different ways of doing it. Ours is still like the meal by the pound, where you're just buying a thing of chicken, we do have like a lasagna, but it's basically one item that you're buying at a time. I've seen other companies who have Meals by Chef B. They're actually here in Florida. Food looks great, executive chef cooking the food, and owner operator kind of deal. He has family portions that are in the aluminum tin, and it's got maybe two sides, but it's got the main protein, at least one side. I think it's got two sides in it. So you just throw that sucker in the oven and it's good to go. We've been wanting to do that for years. We also have ideas to do full chicken dinners, and it's all about getting the right packaging right now. But the big thing that was holding us back is the website. So right now, Chef has been going through the different types of packaging, containers rather, because obviously it's going to be much bigger than the stuff that we have if we're putting a whole bird in it and all these other portions. But Fit Prep Meals want to know about family meals. I definitely think it's the way to go. I think several of the people in the group are probably, I already saw them offering family meals. Like I said, we're doing it. Some other people are here doing it locally. I think meal plans are going to continue to evolve. We're going to watch it. When we first started, everybody's like, well, I'm not that crazy about fitness. The connotation is still very much, and unfortunately we got this in our name. If you know our story, you'll know that this wasn't really our decision, our name. But maybe we'll change it one day to something more fun, like Meal Plan Mafia. The private group, by the way. Shameless plug, but everyone associates meal plans with fitness, not as much as when we first started 6 years ago, but as that connotation and that association, I should say, with meal plans and fitness becomes less of an exclusivity, and meal plans become more ubiquitous. And Susie sees that somebody else at work is on one. It's like, oh wow, you don't really go to the gym, Becky. It's like, no, but I got this for my kids because Becky's in karate and Davey's playing t-ball, and I just don't have any time. And this way I know the food's good and it's cooked and whatever else. Excellent idea. And I also think that it's more economical for them to have even the by the pound stuff, and you're able to portion out your own. I love the by the pound stuff. If you go into my bag right now, I've got a pound of rice, a pound of ground chicken, and a pound of broccoli. And I don't know what it is about simple meals, but I am a basic, I'm a basic bitch. And I like those simple meals. Like late at night, I love just scooping out some jasmine rice, some broccoli, and some chicken. We've got phenomenal meals that blow my mind, but sometimes I just want like 4 ounces of chicken, and I don't feel like opening up a meal and doing the whole thing. So there's a lot of different applications, not only from the family aspect, but also to the individual who, like, even as a single guy, if I live by myself, it's my fiance and I, and we combine meals all the time. But I would still be doing a mixture of the individual portions and a family portion, just so I want to scoop something out, put that in my own Tupperware, or economically, we have some people who just order all by the pound stuff, or all the family size stuff. I still have the habit of calling it by the pound, and it's an individual person, not a family, and it's just someone who's portioning out their own stuff. Might be someone who's doing competition prep, or might be someone who just wants to scoop something out and do some Tupperware. Family portions. Definitely a go. I think I illustrated that point. Anything else? Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry for droning on the parts that I did. I did not expect. I thought an hour was going to be challenging. So maybe I talked too much. Maybe I need to maybe formulate which topics I'm going to go into. But I definitely appreciate the questions and the comments. Fit Prep Meals, Nug Demolisher, and Andrew, 45 minutes away from Austin in Texas, in San Antone. Thank you guys so much for my first broadcast. I think it was not a flaming failure. It wasn't a huge failure. Not bad, right?